Okay, I hate boring speeches, and so I think we should just, get the audience a bit involved. How many people believe that Internet of Things will change healthcare in a very dramatical way over the next 3 years? Please raise your hands. So it's about 70%. Okay. How many people believe that the Apple Watch will be a game changer in digital healthcare? Wow, that was less than 5%. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. I'm ready to start. So I think I have you with me. So very short, my name is Ohnemus. I started programming when I was 13 years old with my brother. We built something 35 years or even longer ago called clusters, so we were way ahead of our time. And all my life, I've been working with big data. I have 5 lovely daughters in all different kind of ages. And when I sold my previous company, Asset4, where we were rating and benchmarking the world's 4,000 largest companies based on their sustainability usage, so water usage, energy usage, etc. I sold the company, and then I was like, wow, if you can collect all this big data on public quoted companies and try to make the world a more sustainable place, how would it be to change healthcare and make it digital? So for all of you in the room who are mostly, I assume, scientists and big time healthcare thinkers, I came from the other side. I came from the big data side. So we founded the company in 2010. I hired some of the world's leading scientists associated with MIT, ETH, University Hospital of Zurich, and we spent over 2 years only backtracking healthcare data. So what we do for capital markets, finding outliers and statistical significance, we wanted to do in healthcare. So we took over 80 million man-years of clinical data and started crunching that data. We had over 20 people involved for over 2.5 years, and the product we invented was called the Health Score. So the Health Score is globally patented, and we are building it as a digital outcome worldwide for the healthcare industry. So we were running the world's largest industry called healthcare with 0 outcome. So we spend $6.5 trillion a year on healthcare globally, and we have no outcome. So, most people, at least the people I know, they don't understand healthcare. It could be Chinese, it could be Japanese, it could be Danish, German, whatever to them, they don't understand it. So what I wanted to do was to build a proxy, because I believed, and again, I have 5 daughters, they were sitting still on the sofa, they were on Facebook, they were gaming, and I was like, if I can get them to think about their health and understand their health, maybe they go for a jog, maybe they go for a tennis game. But of course, at the end of the day, the big challenge for our society are the diseases. And today, I'm not a healthcare specialist, I'm a big data specialist who has a very significant amount of data and very smart scientists behind me. Company is founded in 2010. We spent the first 3 years crunching data. We worked with Nuffield Health, which is the largest health operator in England. And they had been tracking health for over 10 years. They had 3.2 million British lives from their 42 hospitals, 38 clinics, where they have tracked all the data. So we took that data and compared that with our 82 million man-years of clinical data. We went online in 2000, and in December, on the 12th, we went online, and we won many awards around the world. I'm very happy to say on Friday evening, we won the most prestigious entrepreneur award in America. We won the TIE 50, which is the most promising technology companies in the world. So Facebook, Twitter, etc. has taken this award. So who is behind the company? Mark Hoffman was the founder of Sybase. Sybase is the world's 5th largest software company. I sold my company called the SQL Group to Sybase. And you have some of the world's leading professors. So Professor Dr. Lawrence Jacobs, he's been associated with MIT for over 35 years. His specialty is sudden heart death. You have Professor Lucia, who is obviously the chairman of the European Heart Journal, which is the Bible for cardiologists. You have Professor Richard Hurrell, who is a professor in nutrition. He's British, and he's also on the nutrition board of Nestle, so the world's largest food company. You have Professor Percher. He used to be professor at Berkeley. He's now the CTO of Thomson Reuters. So these different professors, and of course also Dr. Gerritsen, who owns multiple private clinics, are challenging the health score every quarter as we move on. So we use adaptive math. We have more and more people entering their data into the health score, and every quarter we update what we learn from the health score. I'm sure none of you are interested in IT or capital markets, but it is an important driver of what's going to happen in the healthcare sector. So the healthcare sector has not changed, and I'm provoking you, for 500 years. So what we do in healthcare is based on Da Vinci's lifestyle principles, that Da Vinci, in the same beautiful town here, 500 years ago, he said, human mankind consists of who we are, how we live, and how we feel. And all medicine you know today originated from northern France and south of Germany. That was in the 7th and 18th century, and then built around Da Vinci's lifestyle principles. So we believe now that this whole digital explosion, number one, in the capital markets, number two, the venture capitalists are going crazy. You have never seen this. Last time I saw this, and that's why it's so beautiful to be here today, was 1996. You know what it was called? The World Wide Web. So the World Wide Web saw 300% increase in capital coming in to the market in 96. And we invented what we call the internet. We have exactly the same taking place right now in digital healthcare. So healthcare hasn't changed for 500 years. And what I just want to share with you is 90% of all healthcare data is less than 5 years old. Just think about what I'm telling you. 90% of all healthcare data that we have digital stored today is less than 5 years old. I don't know if you can imagine what's going to happen when you give that data to smart scientists, big data analytics people. I mean, we're going to see trends. We're going to see disease detections way before they even get a chance to react. So the biggest market is called mobile health. And why would it be mobile? Because this thing I have in my pocket, which is a smartphone, so close to 30 years ago, I sold IBM mainframes. This guy was an IBM mainframe 30 years ago. It costed $20 million. It needed 6,000 liters of cold water every day, and it used between $500 to $600 of electricity. I have that in my pocket today. This phone has sensors that knows it's going up and down now. The phone has a GPS chip. It knows that Peter is standing right now in Florence. It knows that Peter is going forward. It knows my steps. It knows if I'm depressed, and I'm just giving examples, because if my email traffic goes down, this is already an early indication of I'm depressed. If my movements around, so let's say that I move around a circle of 5 kilometers every day, and suddenly my circle is 200 meters, I have an indication of I'm depressed. If I answer emails at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I do that for multiple weeks, I'm having sleeping disorder. What I'm getting at is guys like me, we can take that data and put it into context. And that was why I founded Dakadu, because all my life I programmed London Stock Exchange, Zurich Stock Exchange, some of the biggest, most complex projects you can imagine. But I was always fascinated by health, because I know I don't look so healthy anymore. I gained a few kilos, but I always did a lot of sports. And I always thought, hey, how can I motivate my girls to look after themselves? So basically, what we are seeing here is an explosion. There's no other word you can use for it. So digital healthcare will grow with 65%, according to McKinsey, every year over the next 5 years. And it will be very strong driven by, by mobile. So what is the key driver? The key driver, cost driver worldwide, and everybody hates it, no politicians talk about it, it's obesity. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a disease. And I am overweight myself, look at me. So basically, what has happened is, you were biologically engineered to walk around 10,000 steps. How can I say that so secure? By the amount of oxygen that circulates through your body during the day, the lung capacity, etc. Fitbit has 21 million sensors out there now, you know, the things that track how many steps you do. The average Fitbit user walks around 4,700 steps per day. So basically, we are moving 52% less than we were biologically engineered. And one of my big clients is AOK, that's Europe's largest health insurance company. Mr. Grallmann, the chairman, he says, I am running out of normal Germans. So in Germany now, over 50% of all inhabitants are obese, overweight, etc. So the hips break down, you get a heart attack, you get diabetes 2. So in America, the last 4 years, diabetes 2 costs increased with 41%. 41%, okay? We are having a disease. I know everybody, and I really respected my wife, who's not here right now, but she's involved with Red Cross. I am very concerned about Africa and Asia, and we donate money and everything. But in the Western world, our healthcare system will collapse of inactivity and wrong lifestyle. If we look at this, and I've wanted to take the spectrum of public health at both ends. On one hand side, we have what my wife is fighting for, which is the life expectancy in Africa, India, etc. Those people have diseases like AIDS, malaria, and so on. And they are terrible diseases. The good news is, if you ask me, with digital detection, we will get it very fast under control, because with GPS systems, very low-cost biosensors, etc., I can do very easy detection of this. Those people over there, they move. They don't have depression. And this is very interesting. My wife and I, we went to Rwanda 2 years ago, and we went to see a village where we donated water, a water pump. And my wife said to me, look, Peter, how poor they are. Have you ever seen any of those people being depressed? And I'm just provoking. My own father is a shrink. So in the Western world, we have depression. We have overweight. Many of those things are luxury problems. In that world, they have completely different problems. They don't have time to be depressed, because you're thinking about, how am I going to get drinking water the next 24 hours? How am I going to get something to eat? So what I'm trying to do, and again, I'm not specialist in the area where you guys are specialists. So these guys over here, they get about 80. And, you know, I don't know if you know Larry Kurzweil. You know, he's the chief thinking machine of Google. And he was used to be at Harvard. And he gave the interview in Financial Times 4 weeks ago. And he said, I'm going to get 120 years old. He eats pills for $200 every day. He's absolutely convinced he's going to get 120 years old. So let's just, you know, say we're going to get 100 years old. They will get up to 60 to 70 years old in the poorer world. And again, I'm involved in both areas. What I'm concerned about are the healthcare costs. And the healthcare cost with no outcome is crazy. I mean, you can eat all the pills you want. You can go all you want to a hospital. This week, I had a presentation for the CEO of one of the largest pacemaker companies in the world. And I told him, you make billions and billions of dollars in heart operations every year. You have no outcome. An average heart attack in America costs $250,000, just the operation. And we do no outcome. So we don't know what the outcome is when the patient comes into the hospital or when the patient goes out of the hospital. It's a very complex discussion, but it's something that we have to go into. McKinsey published a report last year and said, in America, we now spend over 18% of the complete GDP on healthcare. And we are still analog. It's time to move full speed in. With this report, McKinsey could get sued by every single healthcare operator if it goes wrong. It takes a lot before McKinsey issues a report where they say it's now time to move full speed in. In Europe, they signed off the biggest project Europe has ever seen. It's called Horizon 2020. It means by 2020, every European citizen has a smart card with all of their biological data on the smart card. You go into the doctor, you don't give the smart card. The smart card stays in my wallet. Basically what I do is I just walk by the NFC reader, which is a near-field communication reader, and it reads my medical files. I have a car accident on the highway. I drove down in a terrible rainstorm last night from Zurich, and let's say I have a car accident, and God save the Queen that I didn't. The ambulance arrives. Already before the ambulance arrives, the NFC reader, when the airbags explodes in the car, uploads all my medical data. What diseases do I have? What medicine am I taking? The guy in the ambulance knows when he arrives at the accidental spot, Peter has high blood pressure, his blood type is this, everything. That is digital healthcare. And that's the power of what we are pushing forward to. This is a brand new study. Dakadu won the European Health Award 2 weeks ago by the EU. And as I said, we won on Friday evening the TIE 50 in America. This has never happened in technology before. In the same year that a company wins both the European and the American award. So this is a study that the EU that evening, they looked at all digital healthcare across Europe. And you could do the same, by the way, by the states in America. You know, how adoptive are the states? So if you look at it, and this is completely independent, this is done by, an independent research organization, and you can see exactly what is the distribution of the healthcare, the public healthcare system in Europe, and how efficient is it? And some of the countries, a country like Austria that everybody combines with innovation, good hospitals, etc., they get miserable away in the study. So it doesn't only have to do with wealth. It has to do with, do I accept digital as part of society, or do I not accept digital as part of the society? I believe, and again, my father is PhD in philosophy and a shrink. I believe that your mental well-being and your social economic system and the power of the social graph is 10 times more important than a good hospital stay. I know I'm provoking, okay? We spent today in the global healthcare system, we spent 70% on people's chronic diseases, okay? So we spent 2/3 of the global healthcare system looking after sick people instead of making them happy and healthy. There are very few people who really want to make them healthy. We want to make people healthy, and basically we believe the mobile world will drive this forward. If you look at this foil, it's very impressive. So this is across 2 billion smartphone users around the world, the latest data, and you would see where do people spend their time with their smartphone. Lifestyle, I hope you agree lifestyle is the most important in your health. You have social, and you have health and fitness. So last year, the traffic globally on mobile phones grew with over 70% globally. 70%. These guys grew above the 70%. And that's why I'm saying you are part of a history movement, which is very important. When we look at what people are tracking, of course, activity is important. As I said, right now, I am step counting. I do nothing. I'm fully integrated into the Apple Health Kit. It knows Peter's taking a step. And the next version, it would know my heartbeat because there's going to be some kind of, sensor taking my heartbeat, my body temperature. It's all going to be wireless. And look at the second most important thing that people are tracking. What are they tracking? Their heart rate. Why? Because when this guy stops pumping, Peter falls down the stage and he's dead. And that is, as our professors call it, the final termination. So, the healthcare system does one thing really bad. The healthcare system believes for diseases, one size fits all. So if you think my 15-year-old daughter would use the same application as my 80-year-old father, please raise your hand. How many things that they live the same way? Good, nobody. Okay, so basically, in the healthcare system, they get treated exactly the same way. That's fatal. That's wrong. And now, as we know, in America alone, 50% of all young children are obese and inactive. They're going to come into the healthcare system. We have never seen so many diabetes 2 children. I mean, we are talking billions. Last year, America spent $244 billion only on treating diabetes 2. Diabetes 2 is not a terrible sickness you are born with. It's pure lifestyle. Diabetes 1, as you all know, is a completely different chapter. Look at this. I thought it was really interesting. It was a study by The Ohnemus. The Ohnemus did this study. It is super scary, okay? This is the Middle East. The Middle East went from, again, just think the number. Globally now, we have 432 million people with diabetes 2. In Saudi Arabia, they have 22% with diabetes 2. They have 70% obesity. We are talking disease management costs that you cannot imagine. Can you imagine the oil stops flowing tomorrow? By the way, Mr. Krallmann from AOK in Germany, he pays every year 4,831 euros for each diabetes 2 patient on top of all other healthcare costs. He says, I am running out of normal Mrs. Smith and Mr. Müller in Germany who are supposed to pay for everybody else. And this is where I put the big question mark, because the whole healthcare system was built on the solidarity principles. But our health insurance, if I smoke 60 cigarettes a day, drink 4 bottles of whiskey, and I'm extra overdoing it, and on the other hand side, I have Mrs. Müller who goes to the alternative bio, gemüse, super healthy living, and she only eats salad, she drinks water, she jogs 20 kilometers every day. I'm 50, I am 50, and she's 50. We pay exactly the same health insurance. Isn't it wonderful? But if I take my car and I drive my car 4 times into the wall, does my insurance go up? Yes, thank you for shaking your heads. So basically, we have a huge challenge because we defined healthcare after Second World War. Everybody came home, they were tired, they were destroyed. And now it's becoming digital. This is from Cisco. We heard it before, thank you. We're gonna have 50 billion Internet of Things in 5 years from now. 50 billion small computers. 12 billion of those sensors will be hospital and healthcare driven, okay? All of the world's smartest venture capitalist guys and girls are putting money into this like crazy. So, I teach innovation at the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland, and I invented one day, and I'm really proud of it, and I hope one day it's gonna stand somewhere, I invented a word that I called the economy of something for something. Why did I come up with the economy of something for something? Because Facebook's success is that you give a picture and then you can see in other people's life. I call it your 1 minute of fame. I hate Facebook, I don't use Facebook, but I use Facebook to watch what my 5 daughters are doing and all these young stupid men hunting my daughters. This was a joke. LinkedIn, lately I sit on a board of a company, and lately the CEO was like, I am so concerned. My COO has 781 contacts on LinkedIn. I think he's leaving us. And I was like, he's just trying to get a salary increase. So basically, it's the something for something, right? In the old days, I would never put my CV. My CV is the most confidentiality thing in my life. It's my life. But I put it online because it increases my value, and the boss thinks I'm going away. It's super smart. I get 20% salary increase, and I ask all my friends, hey, can you just friend me? And then I have 20% more salary. That's the something for something economy. So, the digital healthcare will be driven by 3 things. The consumer, ladies and gentlemen, is broke, okay? When I started working with IBM mainframes 30 years ago, an average IBM employee in America had about $1,000 self-payment. About 10 years ago, it was around $3,000 self-payment. Now more and more models are going towards $5,000 of self-payment. Why am I mentioning this? Because the OTC plus your self-payment is going to bankrupt every citizen in this world. When the health insurance was invented, it was after the Second World War. There was shortage of employees, and you did your health insurance for your employees to show I'm a social aware employer. I look after my people. Well, today, we moved into a service-based economy. I gave a big speech in Germany to 5,000 people last week, and I asked, my first question to the audience was, how many of your employers are spending 15% on the health of your employees? Nobody raised their hand. I went all the way down to 1%, and it was about 3% that raised their hands. Why am I getting at this? Because in a service-based economy, your health is the most important, okay? 71% of the GDP in America today is service-driven. It's 65% in Europe. So you spend 15% on the maintenance of your car, computers, etc., and you spend less than 1% on your health. It's sick. So what will happen is we will have quality data because sensors don't lie. Number two, it would be invisible. So I just wanted to show some of my gadgets because people normally like them. So this guy is a spin-off out of Stanford University. So he has, 2-channel EKG, galvanic skin sensors, body temperature. He has my movement. The sensor is inside. I keep the sensor. I throw away the patch. I was wearing this in front of all European health involved from the EU. They saw my body temperature. They saw my stress from the galvanic skins, everything. They saw my health score moving up and down. So this is costing less than $25. So let's say 4 times per year, I give this to my insurance company, and they calculate my health score, or I calculate my health score, and suddenly my premium becomes outcome driven. If you get bad stomach pain and you go to the hospital and they put this very unpleasant piece up in your, then that costs about $1,000 doing a colon test. This is a camera. It has cameras on both ends. I dip it in to olive oil and I swallow it. It travels through my body. It takes 6 pictures over 7 hours, depending on how fast your body works. The good news is you don't have to reuse the camera. So for the ones who have humor. And this is $70. So I just took about 80% of the cost out of the system. Another one for detecting diseases, which I think, if I can find in my pocket here, is this guy. It's from Slovenia. And again, I don't invest in hardware. I'm a software guy, and I don't get any commissions. This is a startup from Slovenia. It does your glucose and your cholesterol in one reader. You put it up in the jack of your smartphone. It costs $29, okay? You put it on, you beep your finger, and you have your cholesterol and your glucose in real time for $29, okay? So I think you get the point of what is coming towards disease detection. My last one, and this one I have patented, is medical adherence. So this is the health score band. It has real-time notification. It has shaking functions. So for any demence, Alzheimer, whatever, or people having AIDS or whatever, all kind of medicament, this has real-time streaming. It tells me to take my medicine. It shakes lightly on the hand, and it tracks the medical adherence. So basically, we will move in to an industry that will become smartwatch driven. I'm moving a bit faster. Apple Watch will explode. This I'm super fascinated by. You saw it early on. So basically, we're going to have soft sensors. This is a smartphone that is broadcasted via opto technology directly out of the band. You have no buttons, and you can turn it on. You can watch a movie when you fly on the plane. You lay your band. It's broadcast up on the back seat. This is not, I'm saying 2030. You will have this over the next 5 years. This is one of my favorites. It's some of my friends. I breathe into my iPhone, and it detects cancer. So you have the chip built in. It's a spin-off out of NASA. where they were used to track the gases of the astronauts. This one is, as you all know, the Proteus pill. So it has a chip inside the pill. You wear the patch, and every time you swallow the pill, it informs the doctor that you remember to swallow your pill. And Novartis is the single largest investor in this company. This one is my favorite. Have you seen it? Look up the dollar sign. Okay, this is a fully integrated camera in your eye. So in the future, I said to my wife the other day, we are less than 5 years away that you, within your contact lenses, measure your body temperature, your blood pressure. You will just blink with your eye. You took a picture. So in the future, you can never talk secret with your grandmother, anything, because it's going to be filmed. So watch out when they tape you. But this is pretty cool technology, you know, that I have everything in your eye. You don't have to do anything. So where are we going? We are going into automated data collection for the health score. So these are kiosk systems. This is from Walgreens. I put my arm down, it takes my blood pressure. I put the finger in the hole, it reads my blood in real time. It even has the heartbeat in the seat integrated. I have medical notification. I have NFC readers, like we already have them in Denmark. And this is a wonderful story. And again, I don't even know the woman, but it's American spin-off that, you know, got spun off out of Stanford University, you know, reading blood in nanosamples. And I believe in the future that you will just test your blood on your smartphone, and instead of spending $150 for a little blood test, you spend $2.50. So, you know, it's going to go very fast. I talked about it before, cost of the citizen. Can you imagine that you work at Walmart and you earn, let's say, $35,000 per year salary, and you spend 20% of your income on healthcare? Ladies and gentlemen, 100 years ago, every average family in Europe and America spent 55% of their income on food. Today, we spend less than 6% of our disposable income on food, and we spend 22% on fixing their health. The system is sick, it's very ill, and it needs to get fixed. So people will wear smart bands. This is from Accenture. 77% of all employees say, I am willing to wear a medical band if it's sponsored by my employer. All this, you know, it will become outcome-based, holistic, digital, transparency. Now, the big pharma companies, they have a huge problem. And you can see here, this is not by me, they get very bad ratings for digital outcome, right? So, I mean, the really big players. Why? Because they're scared of digital. But Obamacare says I get paid more if my patient does better. So, you know, the same with Horizon 2020. So big pharma, as you know it today, will become digital, or they will disappear. So basically, as I said before, it's the biggest movement we have ever seen, because what we're seeing is a $6.5 trillion industry that hasn't become digital. And you have entrepreneurs like myself who work 12, 14 hours every day, 7 days a week, who doesn't care about the old models. What we want to do is to make this digital. So basically, and I'm not doing any advertising because I promised I wouldn't do, and I'm not going to do, and I have to look at you. We believe, and I'm not even going to mention the name of my company, we believe you need an outcome. We believe you need to track. You track whatever you do else. You track your taxes, you track your phone bill, you track when you drive with your GPS in your car. But to keep yourself alive and happy, you don't do anything. And that is sick. So basically, So people will have digital weighting scales, you know, they will have smartphones, all that data comes in, it gets calculated, and they will share it in one way or another. Of course, all the data, it's very important, is encrypted, and I am one of the big front movers for data privacy. I gave a speech last week at the Internet of Things conference in Brussels, and I said, your data is your data and nobody else's data. So you decide what you want to give out. No advertising on healthcare data, I'm completely against it. No selling of healthcare data, forget it. So the health score is a number from 1 to 1,000. It is completely integrating everything around your life in real time. If you are 1, you're clinical dead. If you're 1,000, you're superwoman. So basically, we believe, and this I think is the most important that we read about, finding balance in a digital life. And you know, many of my employees say, but Peter, I get 100 emails every day. My nerves are broken down. I went to speak the other day at Allianz. They told me that 21% of all the employees globally have sleeping disorder, stress, etc. And you know what? It's normal. And we need to fix this. It is not the analog society anymore. We are not standing at a machine. We are having mental stress. We are sitting still. It's a very bad combination. So basically what we have done is we have integrated all the biological data that all you specialists are dealing with, and we believe that big data will give a very strong coming through around all of your data. And I'm not, these are very detailed discussions. I'm happy to do it over dinner. Now this is important because what we believe is you will have a personal health score, your company will have a health score, and now we get to the topic of which is of big interest to you guys. Healthcare is the biggest threat to any country. And I really mean, and I hope you haven't heard this before, I was used to deliver financial data to the world's leading rating agencies. So in the future, and just think about it, America spends 21% of their GDP to health, okay? Europe is not any better. So in the future, when they're gonna rate a government bond, they're gonna look at what is the average health score of the United States, because that is the biggest single financial obligation of any country. Companies would be asked in their annual report to report on how many of our employees have diabetes 2, how many of our employees have high blood pressure, how many of our employees are sick, what are their sick days, etc. Not because they want to know, is Mr. Smith having diabetes 2, because all data is encrypted and so on, but they want to see a trend because it's going to create costs down the road for the employer. You will have all different kind of sensors. At the Mobile World in Barcelona, just announcement of 100 new sensor companies in 1 week in Barcelona. These are the 2 big players right now, Apple, and don't write off Samsung. I'm just explaining why. Samsung produces 35% of all the chips in the iPhone and in the Apple Watch. But that's not so important. Samsung has decided they want to move into digital healthcare. So they want to produce the cameras, the readers, everything, and you're talking about a $231 billion company moving into this space. You, and I extra put this foil, you will be becoming a walking laboratory, and I'm extra provoking. So the other day, I was together with a professor in innovation. He showed me the full automated battery engine shoe. So by walking, you have small cells in the shoes, and when you walk, that produces all the energy to your smartphone, to your pacemaker. Everything is completely digitalized. And you saw before, you have the camera in the eye, you have the sensor on the hand, so it becomes, and I know you think this guy is completely crazy, but it's fine. Now, when I talk to scientists, they want to see outcome. You have never seen such a data, at least the world's largest insurance companies have never seen it. 30% of all people that track their health, and don't forget, we have 38 countries now with a health score. We have the system in 8 different languages. So 30% have lost weight, 10% have lowered their resting heart rate, around 40% have lowered their risk of cancer, high blood pressure, or diabetes 2. So in the insurance business, you have something called healthy year gained. So in the insurance business, you look at when does people start to cost me money, okay? And again, we talk about a 6.5 billion bill. So those people are 2.5 years longer not costing money to the public sector and to the insurance business. So basically, I'm kind of wrapping up in the end here. Healthcare is boring. Healthcare smells wrong. Healthcare has no relevance in people's life because they don't understand it. And now I turn it upside down. Healthcare is super exciting. It is everything in my life. if you get sick, you will pay everything to come back again. Okay? So we need to make it relevant for people. We need to make it easy to use. And something that the healthcare sector has not understood is the fun factor. And we need to get people involved with diseases. We need to get people understanding diseases. And, you know, I was listening the other day to the president of McKinsey giving a big speech at a healthcare conference. And he said, I guarantee you we can take out 30%, 30, of the worldwide cost of healthcare by making it relevant and making it digital. So we are talking over $1 trillion saving. Engagement is everything. I don't know how many are doctors in the room. Most of my private friends are, doctors and physicians. And they say, if people join, you have unbelievable outcomes. I love this one. I don't know if you have seen it. So I just read it because it's a bad display. You can get a discount on your health insurance if we list Google as our primary care physician. So the reason that I put it is 70%, 70, go on Google before or after they go to the doctor. So don't say digital is not important. You are getting to the final. I hope I woke you up a little bit. My final conclusion is diseases are here. We have, I'm just calling them poor country diseases. We have rich country diseases. Both of them destroy people's life. Second point of my thesis is that we will see obesity and inactivity kill the healthcare system if we don't stop this disease. Lancet, which is probably the most respected, at least in Europe, they said in 2012, it's the world's most expensive disease. And they used the word disease. Thirdly, big data. As you saw in one of my foils, hate it or love it, it's coming. Do I want the world to see my DNA sequencing data? No way. But I want to use big data to treat people with cancer, to treat people with obesity, to treat people with AIDS, and we will get there. Number 4, data privacy. And again, and I hope I'm being filmed and it's sent out on the net. I think it's sick when the healthcare sector sells your data. I think it's sick when you have trackers that are reselling their data to 15 different organizations. On Dakadu, your data is your data. Everything is confidential. Everything is encrypted. Number 5, something for something would turn the healthcare sector upside down. You give something, you get something back. And this, I believe, is the biggest change, because in today's world, and I just have to say it one more time, I grew up in Denmark. Healthcare was free of charge. My mother would take me to Dr. Meyer, and that was his real name, and she would hold little Peter in the hand. And little Peter would stand looking at Dr. Meyer. He had his white jacket on, and Dr. Meyer would tell Peter, you take this pill every day for 7 days, and then you are all fine. And I would go home, and every morning I would eat my pill. In the new world, it's going to be very different, because people read on the internet. People, they share information. And you remember that I said early in the beginning, the power of the social graph in healthcare is so powerful. And the consumer will decide, because we took away the payment from the companies and the governments, also in Denmark where I grew up, and the consumer pays more and more. When the consumer pays, he wants transparency. So we're going to see hospitals being rated. We're going to see doctors having -4 stars. And sorry, my simple English, it would say at the end, he was a real asshole, he didn't explain. And I know it was very simple English. Last but not least, digital health is a huge risk. It's the biggest opportunity that healthcare has had since Da Vinci founded healthcare 500 years ago. And this will change healthcare forever. And I hope you are ready, and I hope I was not boring to listen to. Thank you so much.